us about the peace treaty between the DRC and Rwanda. That was supposed to happen on Monday, but I haven't heard anything about it, so we'll see. Yeah, so it's just a lot. There's a lot going on. The Democrats are mad because them and Republicans were predicting World War III. Didn't happen. So that's why you have to keep your cool, irregardless if you had confidence that the president was going to do what he said he was going to do or not. You just got to keep your cool. And so, they seems to have worked it out, but we'll see. I like the fact that he was upset with Israel because Israel was trying to take advantage of the situation and get their last minute little hits in. The president wasn't having any of that, which I agree with him. Look, you agreed to a ceasefire. It's just that simple. And again, it goes back to my comments on the last video and the video before that. Should we continue to support, the government of Israel? It's got nothing to do with the people. It's got everything to do with the government. And are we being played? Or are we being used to help, the government, meet their, objectives and ends or goals or whatever words you want to use? I agree with most people. We need to stay out of it. I understand they're an ally. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. I understand they're allies. That's cool. But I think there are some things we just don't need to get involved in. Again, I wasn't very thrilled when, he went and bombed those targets. But it was a means to an end. And I understood it probably was a means to an end. But I still didn't like it. But it worked out the way it was supposed to. So, we'll see how the ceasefire goes. Now there are reports that the damage that they say happened may not have happened. Who's to know? I don't know. All I know is that what he did allowed for the ceasefire to come. And, we'll see what goes from there. We'll see what goes from there. I think that, I think hopefully good will come out of it. We'll see. Obviously, you can't trust Iran. And at this point, really can't trust Israel either. Or as President Reagan used to say, trust but verify, which I agree with. So you got to trust but verify. You know what I'm saying? You want both sides to, uphold the ceasefire. That's why the president had to do what he had to do, because Israel nor Iran were going to keep up with it. So, yeah, I'm glad he did what he did. As far as holding them accountable, he's trying to, get this thing done. So that's a good thing. Obviously, that action has caused a little bit of a split, but that's going to happen. That's going to happen. It's just, it is what it is. I know, like, the main, I shouldn't say the main, but there are individuals who, voted for President Trump but don't agree with what he did because they felt that, we're too involved with the Israelis. It was going to cause World War III and all this other stuff. Look, I'm not into conspiracy theories. I'm not into, people that are, what's the word I'm looking for? People that are, espousing the worst. They were all saying that amongst others, and none of it came to fruition. So, people like that just like to cause panic. It's, again, I think we're too involved in the affairs of that particular region of the world. I think that the Israeli lobby here in the United States has too much influence. I don't think any foreign country should be able to have any type of lobbies in this country. None. I don't care if you're an ally, an enemy, whoever it is. You should be able to have a lobby. Honesty, I'm pretty much against any lobby. I don't care if it's foreign lobby or not. I'm just not keen on people having undue influence on our politicians that shapes, I shouldn't say undue influence. Well, maybe that's the phrase that's popping in my head right now. But let me rephrase that and say overly undue influence with politicians. We understand they're politicians, so money talks. It's power, it's greed, all kinds of things. But I'm not a fan of lobbies, not at all. I understand, that people need to have advocates for particular positions and whatnot, and I get it. But from what I've seen, especially certain lobbies are way too powerful, way too influential, and really don't help in the process. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, excuse me, a little tired this morning. But, yeah, I just, people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, have kind of split because of their distrust of Israel, particularly the government, I believe. So they have really been on social media not agreeing with the president, thinking he's a puppet, that this, that, or the other. And in all reality, we don't know. I'm not saying that they're right or wrong. I'm just saying that, they were part of the alarmist group. They were the ones talking about some World War III. Well, it didn't happen. and not to say it won't happen in the future, but it's not happening right now. Obviously, people have, accused Candace Owens specifically of being anti-Semitic, which I think is ridiculous. You don't have to agree. That doesn't make you anti-Semitic. So, people are again using racial terms to try to bully people into, not saying things, which I think is ridiculous. I think those terms, racist, anti-Semitic, all that, are way overused. It's not to say that there aren't people out there that are racist, that are anti-Semitic. That's obviously not true. That's not the case. But too many people use that to bully people into changing their minds, not saying things or whatever. The Jewish state is not above criticism. It's just that simple. Not everybody's going to agree with them. Not everybody's going to be sympathetic to them. And that's their choice. That's their choice. And you should have that right to have that feeling and criticism without being bullied or, attempt to be canceled or whatever, threatened. In her case, threatened. That shouldn't be the case. Just because you don't agree. That's okay. Again, with me, I think they have, I think, that there are people in our government that are so pro-Israeli that they forget that they're American. And that's a problem. I'm all for America first. I'm all for handling what we need to handle at home first and then abroad. I'm all for that. Have always been a fact. I have even gone so far in my younger years to say we need to go back to being isolationist. When I was in college, I was advocating for being isolationist. We get ourselves involved in too many things, and we need to take care of home. We still need to take care of home. Our infrastructure is horrible. It's falling apart. Public education is horrible in most cases. Medical care is not what it could be. There are so many problems and issues that we have that need to be solved. And in my opinion, it's difficult for us to lecture other countries if we're not in ourselves where we need to be, or at least working on it. So that's the way I feel. And again, I'm not against being a member of NATO or whatever. I'm not a fan of the UN. I think it served a purpose when it was founded, but I think it is long ago gone away from that purpose. I think, like anything else, it's the have-nots organization. It's not the have-nots, but it's an organization that if they don't agree with you, then they try to marginalize you. They've tried to do it with the United States, but obviously that's going to be difficult since we have a permanent seat on the Security Council. So they can do whatever they want, but in the end, we can veto anything. So my thing is that the United Nations is kind of an anachronism. It's old. They're trying to push their values on us when each and every country is a sovereign nation, and the UN's job is not to try to push anything on any sovereign nation. Their main purpose is a meeting place where countries can come together and solve their problems in hopefully a meaningful way, but in a way that doesn't involve war or combat. That's supposed to be the place where people can solve their disputes in a civilized manner. That's what the UN is supposed to do, not to push, to push their ideals and their objectives and the things they want to see on free and sovereign nations. That's not the UN's job. And unfortunately, the UN is doing that. And they're trying to push their agenda on other countries, to include the United States. So there's a lot of things going on in the aftermath of this ceasefire. A lot of things going on. And you have people that are very anti-Israeli government to the point where, they blame them. That, they say that we're the puppet. And who knows? I don't know. I just don't see the president being that type of a person. But hey, who knows? A lot of people are tired of dealing with Israel and dealing with their problems, because we have our own problems. And I understand, and I can see that, and I understand that, because our problems should be paramount. Our issues should be primary, not somebody else's issues. Not to say that we shouldn't help other people. And again, they're allies, so okay. But at the same time, some of these comments that other people are making, Candace Owens included, are starting to have some validity. What is the real objective of the Israeli government? Is their objective to gain more land? Do they think that they deserve more land than what was given to them? And that's not to say that their neighbors haven't been hostile. Of course they have. And Israel has every right to defend itself just like anybody else. October 7th was a horrible incident. And Israel had every right to defend itself. Got no issues, no problems with that. Israel ain't got no issues defending itself. It's got one of the most professional militaries in the world. No issues, no problems there. Do what you got to do to protect your citizens. I get that. But, their vendetta has reached beyond Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. They went right after Iran. And I'm not saying that they didn't have a right to do that. If they felt that they were being threatened, then of course. But, everything is obviously subjective. Everything is, dependent on your viewpoint, your opinion, your, whatever. And I just think that, everything should be questioned, and people have a right to question it and have concerns. And you shouldn't be bullied or be called a racist or an anti-Semite because you ask questions or you don't believe the narrative. Well, that's okay. You don't have to believe the narrative. In the end, we want peace. United States policy is peace through strength. And so far, it's worked. We'll see. He's only been in office a little over 6 months. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And, President says we're done in the Middle East. Well, I don't know about all that. Hopefully that's true. But okay, we'll see. It's a wait and see game. That's all it is. I'm not going to say he's lying or whatever, or he's working with the warmongers and what. No, I'm not going to say any of that. Look, you can only go by what his actions and So it's a wait and see game. So he bombed 3 nuclear sites. There were no civilian casualties. He wasn't going after people like Iran does when they shoot their missiles, and Israel's been accused of doing as well, especially in Gaza. We didn't do any of that. There were no civilian casualties. They were surgical strikes meant to make a point. Fine. Again, I'd have rather he didn't do it, but okay, I understand the reasoning behind it. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't, I just don't see things exactly the same way as everybody. But again, it worked. So results are what they are, results. Actions speak louder than words. He got the results that he wanted. Hopefully the ceasefire holds, and then we can get a peace deal, and we can do what we need to do and move on. That's all we can hope. Okay? And like I said, all these alarmists and all these other things, you were too quick to be alarmists. Calm down. Stop spreading fear. Just wait and see what's going to happen. Be calm. Especially these folks that have millions of followers on social media, you got to stop being alarmists. You got to just try to be as even keel as possible. You can still have your opinions and your, positions, but don't be alarmist and talk about, oh, it's World War III, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't think about that, but I didn't go out spreading it. I'm like, okay, we just have to see what happens and pray that it doesn't happen. That was exactly my take on it. So, like I said, actions speak louder than words. The results were what the president wanted. And so we'll see. We'll see if both Israel and Iran adhere to the ceasefire. I think so far they are. Once President Trump got upset, called Prime Minister Netanyahu and told him, no, you need to stop. Call them planes back. We're in a ceasefire. No, you can't do all that stuff. You expect that stuff from Iran. But Israel should know better. Israel should not want to have to continue to go into Iran and bomb and do all this other stuff. They should want peace. They should, you know what I'm saying? They should want peace. They shouldn't have to worry about going outside their borders and doing things. So that's just me. And again, that's just my opinion. And so, the kind of the aftermath of the ceasefire, and now, and then some Democrats were trying to impeach him. Well, that didn't get through the House. These people are stupid. And that's a whole nother issue. These leftist Democrats, well, most of the Democrats, are just idiots. Why are you impeaching a president for something that he did legally? I have no understanding of why they would do something like that. He had every right to do it under Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution. He informed congressional leaders. It's not his fault if some of them didn't answer the phone. These people are stupid. They're idiots. Just stupid idiots. And we elect these people in office. It's just ridiculous. It's just crazy. These people are unhinged. Like I said in my last video. These people are unhinged. They're just unhinged, and they don't deserve to be in Congress. They do not deserve to be in Congress at all. Don't deserve to be in Congress at all. It is crazy, these people. Just this craziness. But this is the aftermath of the ceasefire, of the attack on these 3 sites. But in the end, it turned out to be okay. The president got the result that he wanted. All right, thank you, sir. So yeah, it's, you know, he got what he wanted out of it. So yeah, president got the result that he wanted. So that just lets me know and lets everybody else know that he knew exactly what he was doing. And everybody's like, well, just trust the process. Well, no, I'm not going to trust the process. The only, you know, God, you only trust God, but you can have confidence in the process. My thing is, whether I have trust or confidence or whatever words you want to use, I'm just allowing him to do what he needs to do. That's all. I'm just allowing him to do what he needs to do. He's the president. He's the one that got elected into office. Let the man do what he need to do, and pray that it's, you know, for our benefit as the American people. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. And all you can do. So yeah, it's a real interesting kind of news cycle, and we'll see what comes out of this NATO summit. Hopefully some more things, some more positive things. We'll see. You know, we'll see. But nevertheless, you know, people just need to calm down, and people just need to allow the president to do his job, allow the administration to do their job, and just take a wait and see attitude. Just take a, you know, hey, we'll wait and see. Actions speak louder than words. Okay, you talking all this, let's see what happens. You know, cautious optimism. There we go. That's the word I'll use. Cautious optimism. And I think if we, you know, if we do that, I think a lot of people will be less stressed. I think a lot of people will be less stressed. And like I said, we'll see. We'll see. People are fickle, so you can't really rely on people. All you can do is just, like I said, have cautious optimism. Pray that everything works, you know, for the good, and just keep it moving. That's all we can do. Just keep it moving. So everybody just be calm. Don't panic. Things happen, they happen. A lot of this is out of our control. You know, if you're nervous about it, put it in God's hands. Let him worry about it. But, you know, we don't need to keep worrying ourselves over things that are not under our control. All we can do is just pray that you know, that things go for the good, that God's will be done, and, you know, that we try to stay positive, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, regardless if you like the president or not. You know, a lot of people hate him, and for everything, no matter what he does. They hate him because now he got a ceasefire. I mean, it's just stupid people. But regardless of how you feel about him, just wait and see what happens. Just wait and see. Just allow him to do his job, and let's see if, you know, and he'll prove it out that what he's saying, if America is truly first, then his actions will prove it. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And if not, then that'll come out too. So, you know, it's his last term, so it's not like he can come back to office. But it'll affect whoever, you know, runs next time. So I'm sure he's going to want to do what he feels he wants to do. We vote. I voted for him. We voted him for him because we wanted to stay out of wars. We wanted the border protected. You know, we wanted illegals out. We wanted those things. We wanted all those things that he promised, and that's why we voted him in. And if the first term is anything like this current term, then for the most part, he does what he says he's going to do. All you can do is go by, you know, his results. So we'll see. Just trying to keep a calm, positive attitude about it. And I think if we all do that, I think we'll all be much better off, less stressed, and not so worried about it. Because the media, that's their job now, is to get people all stirred up and apprehensive and stressed, and because almost all the news that you see is negative or skewed one way or the other, and it's just ridiculous. And so all it's doing is just getting you all, you know, fired up. And people need to understand stress kills. So we don't need to be stressed any more than we already are in our daily lives. So let's just be positive, be calm. Again, regardless if you agree with the president or not, or even voted for him, it doesn't matter. He's the president of the United States. We should want the president to be successful because that affects us as the people, regardless if he voted for him. That's just the way we should look at it. And I think if we do that, I think everybody will be better off. But again, I digress. So I'll leave it at that. Again, I appreciate everyone. I appreciate all my subscribers, everybody that makes comments and likes and whatnot. I appreciate everyone. If you like it, then share it with somebody. Subscribe if I'm saying anything that you enjoy or makes sense. Hit that notification bell, hit the like button. That helps the algorithm. Y'all know how it go. Again, these are just my opinions and my life experiences that I'm giving. And you know, sometimes my view is going to be different than whatever, and that's fine. It's just my opinions, my views. And again, I appreciate everyone that takes the time to watch this. I really do. So until next time, God bless you.